This video will show how the KenTXCOMPWebController app is used to automate data entry for DWC69 and 73s into the TXCOMP system. I've launched the app, and over here on the right it will get loaded as soon as we click on the doctor's name. So let me click on this doctor's name and we'll see that this table gets completely filled in. You'll notice that there's 8 pages of appointments here on the TDI TXCOMP system, but over here on the right we've got all 72 appointments in one table so we can find anybody easily. In fact, we can sort the patient name column. So if we're looking for Smith, we can try to just scroll down here and find the patient named Smith, and it's this one right here, which is going to be on page 4 over on the TDI TXCOMP system. So we could go straight to page 4 here and find Smith on that page instead of having to go through these one at a time to try to find that injured worker. Okay, let's say we're ready to start entering data for the DWC69 for this patient right here. First, we have to find that patient over here on TXCOMP and click the link to view and add reports. So let's click the link for that person. That brings up this screen where we get to select the type of report. We're not going to cover 68s because they're simple. We'll look at 69s and 73s because they can be rather tedious and the automation helps a lot. So let's start with the 69. I'll click this link right here. That brings us to this file where we're ready to choose the file for that 69. Let's choose this file right now. I have a dummy folder with dummy documents because everything on my system for this demo is test data, but this is a live production TXCOMP system, so we don't want to upload anything really, but in case we accidentally do, these dummy documents tell TDI to ignore them. So let's choose this document and open it. Okay, the document's been selected, so we're ready to attach the report file. And now we're at the point where we would need to enter all the ICD-10 codes one at a time. So let me pause here a minute and bring up that DWC69 so you can see what codes we would need to be entering one at a time if we weren't going to be able to use this automated process. Highlighted in blue here are the 10 diagnosis codes that we would have to enter one at a time into the TXCOMP system. Our automated process, let me click this Auto 69 button so you can see how it's going to work. I'm going to click this button right now. This designated doctor has 5 types of 69s that they upload. In this particular case, it's the DD determined both compensable and non-compensable injuries. So I'll click this radio button and you'll see the 10 codes that need to get entered over here and also the MMI information that needs to be input down here. This auto enter button is going to do everything for us. So when I click this button, you're going to see this screen over here flash about 9 or 10 times, once for each code, while it automatically enters these codes instead of you having to sit here and enter these things one at a time. Okay, let's click this button. Alright, I think we have to scroll down this screen and I want to keep redacted information. So let me get this ready so I can scroll down this screen. So you can see that clicking that button has entered all 10 of these diagnosis codes for us, and it's entered the MMI information down here. We would be ready now to submit this to TDI and go on to the next 69 because this person had 3 that we would have to do this for. And for every one of those 69s, we would have to be entering these ICD codes one at a time. That's how this program can help you with DWC69 data. The KenTXCOMPWebController can also help with DWC73 data. To save time, I've already got to the point where you would be entering data for a 73 for this injured worker. And if we click this button over here, Auto 73, it will automatically do what we need to do. Now, there's one thing about 73s. Let me show you a window to explain. You sometimes need to submit more than one DWC73. And each one of them would have a date range. So this table is showing that we have 5 DWC73s that we need to submit, each with their own date range. So we're going to have to actually do this process 5 times. I'll show you how it works for once or maybe twice. So let me click this Auto 73 button. That launches this window, which will allow us to do this the 5 times that we have to do. This might be a good time for me to point out how this all works. All this information that we're entering on TXCOMP, we already have in our database. We needed all that information to create the DWC69 and 73 forms. So since we already have all that data, that's what allows us to automate the entry into this TXCOMP system. So let's start here with return to work prevented, which corresponds to this radio button here. So we want that to get selected and these dates to be entered, and it will also enter, I think it's down here further on this form, it'll enter any ICD-10 codes. Or I take that back. I don't think you enter ICD-10 codes. Well, yes you do. We enter them even on this form. So let's click this button and see what happens. It's turned this green so that we can remember that we've done this one, because we're going to have to do this 4 more times. And if we scroll down on this window over here, we can see that it's entered the ICD-10 codes, it's done the prevent return to work, and it's stuck in the correct dates. It's all ready for us to click the submit button and go on to the next 73 and do the exact same thing. So we assume I just submitted that first one, and now we're ready to do the second one. So again, this one's going to do a return to work with restrictions for this date range. So let me click this button here again. And as you can see, it's plugged in the correct date range, it's marked the radio button, and if we scroll down here, you'll see that it's entered all these codes again. And so we would submit this one and come back and do the next one, and so forth until all 5 are done. And for each one of those, we did not have to manually enter all these codes. It got done all automatically for us. So that concludes this video. Thank you for your time.